Lewis Hamilton's radio message has fans alarmed, while Charles Leclerc watches a golden chance slip through his fingers. McLaren dominates, Ferrari stumbles. Again, what's really going on in Maranello? Let's break it down. Lewis Hamilton endured another weekend to forget, starting 12th after a Q2 exit and finishing the race in the same spot. It marked the first time he's failed to score points at the Hungarian Grand Prix, and fans couldn't ignore the emotional weight in his voice after the race. The seven-time world champion, already self-critical after qualifying where he called himself useless, once again shifted the spotlight away from Ferrari's shortcomings and squarely onto himself. Over team radio, he offered a heartfelt apology to the crew, a moment that's left many wondering just how much more frustration he can take. He said, "Really sorry about this weekend, guys, for losing you points." After a frustrating qualifying session, Lewis Hamilton set the internet ablaze with a cutting remark. Ferrari, he suggested, probably need to change drivers. The comment instantly went viral, sparking a flurry of reactions across social media. At first, many dismissed it as a heat-of-the-moment outburst. But when Hamilton was given a chance to walk it back ahead of Sunday's race, he didn't flinch. Pressed to explain what he meant, the seven-time world champion didn't sugarcoat it. When asked if he could help us understand the context behind his words, Hamilton fired back with a blunt, unwavering reply. "Not particularly when you have a feeling, you have a feeling. There's a lot going on in the background that's not great, so..." When asked if he still stood by his post-qualifying remark, Hamilton didn't miss a beat. Without hesitation, he replied, "The same." Journalists pressed on, asking what he hoped Ferrari would do to support him after another bruising weekend. Hamilton's response was curt and cutting. "I don't ask anything of the team." Even when asked if a night's rest had shifted his perspective, the seven-time world champion didn't waver. His reply was as direct as ever. "No, it's the same." On the other side of the Ferrari garage, hope turned to heartbreak. Charles Leclerc had been on the brink of delivering Ferrari's first win of the 2025 season, until disaster struck. After snatching pole in a nail-biting qualifying session ahead of McLaren's Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, as well as Mercedes' George Russell, Leclerc looked in control. He led 28 of the first 39 laps at the Hungaroring, only briefly relinquishing the lead to Norris, who was on a one-stop strategy. But just as the pressure from Piastri began to mount on lap 40, Leclerc's pace mysteriously vanished. In a shocking twist, the Ferrari driver hemorrhaged time, losing 37 seconds to Piastri over the final 30 laps. After the race, Leclerc was left frustrated, convinced that an undisclosed issue may have robbed him and Ferrari of their best shot at victory all year. "This is so incredibly frustrating," Leclerc fulminated over team radio. "We have lost all competitiveness. You just had to listen to me. I would have found a different way of managing these issues. Now it's just undrivable. Undrivable. It will be a miracle if we finish on the podium." The Monegasque was notably guarded over team radio, deliberately dodging any specifics about his technical troubles to keep Ferrari's secrets under wraps, even as flashes of frustration crept into his voice. After the race, however, Leclerc struck a more reflective tone. He admitted to misjudging the situation in the heat of the moment and conceded there was no justification for venting at the Scuderia's engineers. "I need to take back the words I said in the radio because I thought it was coming from one thing, but then I got a lot more detail since I got out of the car," Leclerc said. "It was actually an issue coming from the chassis and nothing that we could have done differently. I started to feel the issue in lap 40 or something like that, and then it got worse, lap after lap after lap, and towards the end, we were 2 seconds off the pace, and the car was just undrivable. It's an outlier. It shouldn't ever happen again, but I'm still very disappointed. We had one opportunity this year to win a race, which I think was this weekend. The first stint was perfect, the first laps of the second stint were really good as well, and I think we were on pace to try and win that race. The last stint was a disaster when I started to have that issue on the chassis." Leclerc went on to explain. "It wasn't very consistent, but basically every corner it was doing something different. Ferrari is still chasing its first Grand Prix win of 2025. With their lone podium, P2 in Monaco, serving as a thin silver lining in an otherwise underwhelming season. While Leclerc's fight for victory in Hungary offered a brief glimmer of hope, the reality is sobering. The Hungaroring, the second slowest circuit on the calendar after Monte Carlo, played to Ferrari's strengths. But even there, McLaren's raw pace proved overwhelming. Even today, they were very, very fast, Leclerc admitted, hinting that unless something changes fast, Ferrari's chances against the dominant McLarens look increasingly slim for the rest of the season. What gave me hope of winning is that we were starting first, and with the dirty air, it's a struggle to get past. I think Oscar probably had a bit more pace than me, but couldn't overtake, Leclerc added. I don't think we are going into the second half of the season thinking that we can win anywhere. And that's what makes the frustration even bigger. Because we knew that this was one opportunity, probably over the season, and we had to take it. But unfortunately, with this issue, we couldn't do much. Leclerc's late race unraveling went from bad to worse when he was handed a 5-second penalty for moving under braking while fending off George Russell for the final podium spot. While the Ferrari driver questioned the steward's call, he stopped short of expressing outright outrage. Still, he couldn't resist a subtle jab at Russell's radio complaints, suggesting the Mercedes driver may have been a bit too eager to play the victim. "I knew I was on the limit, I don't have much opinion about it," he said. "I felt like I moved before braking. And then I brake, obviously angling my car towards the apex, which is normally what I do. But I can imagine George being quite vocal on the radio, it's normally the case." Ferrari departs the Hungarian Grand Prix, bruised and empty-handed. Charles Leclerc, despite starting from pole, failed to secure a podium, while Lewis Hamilton endured yet another nightmare outing. Team principal Fred Vasseur, speaking to Sky Sports F1, admitted the team is entering the summer break with more questions than answers. He confirmed that Ferrari will use the downtime to launch a deep investigation into the root causes of their struggles, particularly the puzzling performance drop in Leclerc's SF25. "We need to investigate, but the gap was not huge. In the first 2 stints, we even managed to create a small advantage over the McLaren car. In the second stint, we were under a bit more pressure, but we were still managing to hold first place. In the last stint, we were 2 seconds slower in pace and completely lost the race in positions. It's really disappointing, because until that point, everything had gone well," he explained to Sky's microphones. Ferrari's summer break begins with more questions than answers. Can Leclerc recover? Will Hamilton find his spark? Hit subscribe, and let's find out together when Formula One returns. This story is far from over.